All right, welcome into the Tri-Oval office. I understand this does not look the way that this program normally looks, but Grant's out of town, and we've been having too many once a week episodes, um, or only one episode weeks lately. Just gotta get back on the grind, content schedule wise. But I'm excited. It is North Wilkesboro week. So, for the first time in 30 years, the Cup Series will have a points paying date at North Wilkesboro. It should be exciting. There's a few news stories I want to get into before, and we'll probably end up recapping these whenever we actually end up recapping North Wilkesboro next week. But I want to talk about the Super Speedway package being changed. So, a slight reduction in horsepower and a massive reduction in the spoiler for the cars at Daytona. So far, that this has not been approved, I don't think, for Talladega. It's not set in stone, at least. They're waiting to see what happens at Daytona because, let's be honest, NASCAR doesn't always do the best planning. And two, they're not running any practice before it. So the first time that drivers will take these new Cup cars with significantly less downforce and drag onto the track will be for qualifying. And the first time they'll be in a pack will be on race day. So that's the regular season finale, and it's only 5 weeks away. So I'm sure there's going to be chaos. There's always chaos at Daytona, especially in the summer, but there's some possibility that this one could be even more entertaining if you were just rooting for chaos. I think it's a good thing. If it gets the racing closer to what we just saw last weekend at Atlanta, I'm all for it. However, I think that they should not just rest back on their laurels. It's very nice that NASCAR's actually doing something beyond just manipulating the stages. So we'll see how it does. I think it'll be pretty effective, but I'm sure we'll touch back up on this when Grant is with me next week. But yeah, hopefully this leads to a full preseason Thunder test at Daytona, starting in February or January, even. I don't know when you would put it. I have not looked at the next year's potential calendar yet at all. So, but if that is what comes of it, then that is fantastic. Also, a new short track rules package, just a slightly softer bumper and front end. So they say that there's a possibility that there may be some radiators knocked out this weekend at North Wilkesboro. It's not a Saturday night short track night, but it's Sunday night short track night at one of NASCAR's original venues. It should be a lot of fun. I think that this is going to allow for maybe not more passing, but it's going to. I'm just interested to see how it shakes things up. Because before, it almost felt like whenever you did give a bump and run to a guy, you actually were just pushing him because of how hard the bumper was. Like there was no point, there was no chance of doing damage to yourself. There was really not a chance of doing damage to your opponent. So the only way to do a proper bump and run was to almost spin them. So hopefully this changes that a little bit. I don't have super high hopes for it, but the more chaotic, the better, especially at a track like North Wilkesboro. Sunday night short track race. Let's talk about it. This is going to be a pretty short episode because me and Grant aren't going back and forth. So if you watch this program, we normally, anywhere from 40 to an hour. If we get 15 minutes today, it'll be very lucky. Looking at fastlap.io, not sponsored, could be, for into the show. We just looking at North Wilkesboro, keep in mind that all three events that we have data on are all-star races. A significantly shorter race, a significantly smaller field. And it also takes into account the heat races. So, very, very weird looking chart. And I don't think it's really indicated of who is really good here and who's not. I think that Joey Logano is fantastic here, and you're going to see it when we cover the odds. He's like 125.3 rating. However, Shane Van Gisbergen is not the second best driver at North Wilkesboro. It's just because he got lucky and started on pole because of weird, wacky all-star qualifying. So that is why SVG is so high. Joey Logano is going to be a contender, as well as I think all of the Penske Fords, but especially this is a chance for Joey to really make some strides towards the cut line. Because as you see right now, he's on the outside looking in. He's the last driver, or the first driver out, and he trails Eric Jones by 9 points. Especially a good chance to make up ground on SVG, who has a decent sized lead. As I say, I think we're just competing over the last 3 spots now, and really, I don't think anyone outside. Michael McDowell might have a shot if he wins a super speedway. Outside of that, I'm not sure. Ross Chastain is probably the last guy I say has a shot to actually make the chase this year, and he's sitting in the 20th position, 45 points back. So within a race, it really is just a win a race and find out this year. Third in the point standings, last week's winner after a dominant showing at Atlanta, only 65 points back of Denny Hamlin for the points lead in the regular season, Ryan Blaney. So Blaney is not on this chart at North Wilkesboro, but if I just flip it to short tracks, Ryan Blaney is third in rating, and he has basically just a straight line of consistency across the board. So very, very consistent at this type of tracks, especially the short, flat ovals. And he, if I remember correctly, he won Phoenix to begin this season. He won Phoenix last year. He is fantastic. I saw a graph today over the last 10 next-gen short track races. Ryan Blaney is first in every category but 2. And I'm going to pull this up on my phone because I know that's where it's at. And I am going to get this absolutely correct. So in terms of finishing results, number of laps completed, lead lap finish, DNF percentage, top 10 percentage, top 5 percentage, win percentage, average finish, median finish, average driver rating, Ryan Blaney is number 1 in all categories at all short tracks in the last 10 starts at a short track. So that's about the last 2 years of next gen short track data. His average starting position is 8th among 36, and he's starting on average 11.9. And percentage of laps led, he's third, leading 13.45% of all laps at those 10 super speedway races for 563 laps led. Obviously, you can really run the lead counter up, your lap led counter up, something like that. I can't speak today. Whenever you are at a short track, because I mean, you're making a lap every 22 seconds. So it should be interesting. Those things I told you, average start where he's 8th and percentage of laps led where he's 3rd, are the only 2 categories that we measured where he is not first. Ryan Blaney has been absolutely dominant lately on this type of track. He has 4 short track wins, at least according to FastLap.io. That only trails Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson in the next gen era. And really, those have come lately. Like I mentioned, both of the last Phoenix races have gone to Ryan Blaney. And he also is a winner at, I believe, Martins. Maybe not Martinsville. He's won a lot. He has won quite a bit on this style of track. And I don't think that that is going to end anytime soon. This is really the only track type outside of the super speedways where Ford has shown consistent speed this year. And even not even just Ford, it's just Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney's better than all the other Fords put together. And he, I believe, will have a very, very good race. He is not the favorite. Looking at betting odds, Denny Hamlin is the favorite to win this. Well, it's actually co-favorites. So Hamlin, Blaney, and Bell are all at plus 40, plus 43. 430. Numbers are hard. So 3 co-favorites. Then Larson, Logano, Reddick, Gibbs, Elliott, Briscoe, Byron bring up the top 10. I think looking at some of this competition, Denny Hamlin obviously could win this race. He's been killer lately. He's not in the in-season challenge anymore because he got knocked out by Bell last week. But Denny Hamlin Like I said, if you just narrow it down to short tracks, has the best overall driver rating in the next gen era at 104.7, 5 wins in that stretch. Kyle Larson also tied in wins, 101.4 over. So those are the two that lead Blaney in driver rating, at least according to fastlap.io. So, and just to put it in perspective for you, Denny leads with a 104.7, Larson 101.4, Blaney 98.4, and then there's a decent gap to Christopher Bell 93.6. So you have a little bit, those top three have separated themselves a little bit more than 3 to 4 and the rest of the pack. So I truly believe that we're going to have a decent race here. Kyle Larson has had a lot of speed lately. He's also gotten himself into a lot of trouble. So where he was top 10ing the field to death and top 5ing the field to death, he has now wrecked himself in the top 5 multiple weeks in a row now. And so now he's dropped to 6th in the point standings. Chase Elliott's ahead of him. Both of them trail Ty Gibbs by a sizable margin. So Ty Gibbs has about a 60-point lead on Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, and is trailing Ryan Blaney by around 60 points. So Ty Gibbs pretty well locked into that 4th position with 6 races to go. Looking at the Hendrick camp to see, they have historically been pretty good on the short tracks. But not as much here at North Wilkesboro. I believe Larson has one of the all-star wins. But outside of that, really just not a ton of speed. However, I don't want to take any data just from North Wilkesboro because the races are so weird. I mean, how do you break down a 36 car field versus a 21 car field? I mean, lap traffic plays such a heavy factor at all tracks, but especially short tracks where you're having to deal with it early and often. So I don't know. I just think that I think Hendrick's going to be a factor. William Byron, just out to lunch last week, it felt like, and there's been no consistency from the 24 camp so far this season. So maybe he can put together a good run here, but I do think it'll be either Ryan Blaney or one of the Toyotas that get it done. Let's talk about Joe Gibbs Racing. So Denny Hamlin, like I already mentioned, fantastic short track racer, really, really good. Does not have a win at North Wilkesboro. So looking to add to that Hall of Fame resume, be the first to get an actual points paying win at North Wilkesboro in 30 years. That would do it. And that would expand his championship lead. Looking at his teammates, though, I mean, Ty Gibbs has been really, really good at short tracks this year. I mean, he dominated Bristol and managed to win there. He's come up unlucky after dominating a few different short tracks. Look for Ty Gibbs this weekend, I think, to be a good factor. But also, Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe are both surging. And, I mean, Bell is a co-favorite for a reason. He won the All-Star race here last year. And he's just traditionally very good at this type of track, whether that be Martinsville. He's been good at Richmond in the past, New Hampshire, and North Wilkesboro kind of fits the bill, as well as like a Phoenix. I think that Bell will be one to watch for sure. And Briscoe can rattle off a win at any time. I think him and James Small, just when they're going to have speed on pretty much any given week. It's just the execution that you see. And that's pretty much your top 10. I haven't mentioned Carson Hocevar or Chris Buescher. There shouldn't be really, not to harp on the Spire thing, but I don't think there's going to be true setups for North Wilkesboro since it's so different than the All-Star race. But you might see Hocevar just do some stuff. That's pretty much the advertisement for Carson Hocevar. Chris Buescher, a track that's somewhat similar to Darlington, if there is such a thing is similar to Darlington. Buescher did really, really well at the Lady in Black this past spring, so maybe something could happen here for the 17 camp. I am not confident, though, however, in Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, the short tracks are his weakness. He's a very good road racer. He's a very good super speedway racer. Very good on the intermediates. Cannot race a short track. Or struggles compared to the rest of the top of the field at short tracks. Tyler Reddick does. And this is going to be a stretch coming down to the wire at the end of the season, where you have a lot of these short, weird ovals. Like I mentioned already, North Wilkesboro is this weekend, of course, but Iowa's coming up in a few weeks. You have Gateway to start the or at least right there at the beginning of the chase. Let's look at the calendar as we bring it up now. Yeah, North Wilkesboro. So I think it's gonna be a struggle. I think for Tyler Reddick. Indianapolis, yeah, I think he should do decently well on, considering how well 2311 has performed, and Toyota in general has performed on the bigger tracks this year. But then Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, before reaching Daytona. That is going to be a very crucial step for short tracks before we reach the end of the regular season. If Tyler Reddick wants to dig into this lead from Denny Hamlin, he either needs a win at Daytona, and probably needs a win at Daytona regardless, but or Indianapolis, and he's got to find a way to just collect some points on these tracks that he typically struggles at. Richmond, last year he was actually really good here at Richmond until there was a weird pit stop. I think his tire fell off in pit road, or the car, something weird happened, and just was never able to recover from it. So same thing for Bubba Wallace. Not the best short track racer, but 2311 has enough speed that it should be able to make up for some of their relative shortcomings at short tracks, for lack of a better word. So, like I mentioned, 6 races to go. Wilkesboro, Indy, Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, Daytona. And we have some heated points battles, both at the front of the pack for the regular season championship and at the cut line. Grant's not with us tonight, but he did send in his prediction. He has Christopher Bell, I know it's a boring pick, winning, and I really can't, it's hard to disagree with him, but I will. And I'm going to go for the man that Christopher Bell is competing against in the in-season challenge. I'm going to take Ryan Blaney to win at North Wilkesboro. We picked 2 favorites, so watch Denny Hamlin, the other favorite, win instead. I think someone sneaky to watch. He doesn't count for our dark horse picks, but Ty Gibbs at plus 1300, I think is a pretty good investment. Also, Ryan Preece at plus 3,300, or if you really want to get dicey, Josh Berry plus 5,000. Short track racer. I know he's not done a lot this year. He's in a lame duck season, but might be a very interesting pick. Oh, and front row extended Todd Gilliland. So how about that? I think that's more so that I think Noah's out at front row. Whether or not he takes the job at RCR is a whole other debate, but I don't think he'll be in the 4 car very much longer. We'll have that debate probably when Grant's back next week, but this has been all over the place, but it has been the Tri-Oval office. So I'm Caden. Grant's not with us. So hi Grant, bye Grant. But thank you for sticking with us. If you did stick around this long, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe. We do NASCAR content at least once a week. Hopefully more like twice a week going forward. But yeah, I'll see you after the North Wilkesboro race. Peace.